Imagine sitting beside a quiet river, its gentle ripples catching the golden light of the setting sun. There is no hurry, no noise, only the steady rhythm of your breath and the serene stillness of the moment. Society often tells us that being alone is something to fear, a sign of abandonment or isolation. But what if solitude is not emptiness, but a doorway? What if, instead of loneliness, it opens a path to something far deeper: freedom, peace, and self-discovery? From a Buddhist perspective, clinging to the approval of others is one of the deepest sources of suffering. Much of our lives are spent seeking validation, yearning for connection, and fearing separation. Yet genuine contentment does not come from the number of people around us. It arises from the relationship we cultivate with ourselves. Old age is not a chapter of social depletion. It is a season of personal liberation, a sacred period when the mind and heart can finally rest in their natural rhythm. This journey is not about rejecting companionship, but about honoring solitude as a profound teacher. Aging is not about loss. It is about rediscovering the truest essence of who we are. We often carry a quiet fear as we grow older, the fear of being alone. But what if solitude is not something to dread, but a companion to cherish? In the stillness of our later years, we discover a profound truth, that joy does not always arrive with company, but sometimes with presence, our own, fully awake. Friendship, in old age, shifts in shape and meaning. It becomes less about constant presence, and more about connection that flows like water, gentle, patient, and sustaining. True friends are not measured by the hours spent together, but by the ease of heart they inspire. Even brief moments of laughter, shared memories, or kind words can ripple with the warmth of connection. Living joyfully alone does not mean living without love. It is an invitation to cultivate love for ourselves, to befriend our own company, and to notice the world with a softer gaze. There is a sacredness in simple routines, the morning light spilling across the floor, the aroma of tea, the quiet hum of life outside the window. These small moments, often overlooked, become companions themselves. Buddhism teaches us to embrace impermanence. People change, friends come and go, and yet, the heart can remain whole. When we release attachment to how friendships should look, we open space for gratitude for the connections we have, however fleeting. And in this acceptance, loneliness transforms, not into emptiness, but into a quiet richness. So, to those who walk alone in their later years, be gentle with yourself. Nourish your inner life. Seek connection when it calls to you, but do not fear the spaces in between. In solitude, we may hear the whisper of life itself, reminding us that joy is never far, even when we are simply with ourselves. Friendship in old age is not about holding tightly. It is about flowing freely, finding depth in each encounter, and discovering that the truest companion has always been within. We shall be exploring 9 truths that can guide you into living joyfully. Number 1. Understanding the shift in priorities. As the years unfold, our priorities gradually transform. What once felt urgent, the need for constant companionship, social standing, and endless interaction, begins to fade. In youth, friendships often define us, offering a sense of belonging. But Buddhism teaches that the self is impermanent. The roles and labels we cling to are illusions of the ego. Eventually, the pursuit of belonging softens, giving way to a quieter longing, peace. Friendships, once mirrors of who we think we are, lose their gravity. We stop collecting relationships like trophies, believing more connections make us complete. With age comes the realization that fulfillment is not found in the crowd around us, but in the capacity to sit quietly with ourselves. The urge to constantly engage softens, and a subtle contentment emerges. We no longer feel compelled to prove ourselves, maintain appearances, or fill every silence with conversation. Instead, we savor the simple joys, the crisp morning air, the slow unfolding of a flower, the familiar weight of a cherished book. This is not loneliness. This is liberation. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment. Relationships, like all things, are impermanent. They change, fade, and transform. When we stop clinging to connections merely for the sake of having them, we allow ourselves to experience relationships more freely, without expectation or dependence. This shift does not mean we no longer care for others. It means we engage authentically, not out of obligation. We become selective, not from selfishness, but from wisdom. Our energy is finite, and we invest it where it truly matters. Some may call this isolation, but in truth, it is a deepening of self-awareness and presence. Alone, we are not empty. We are rich with the fullness of our own company. In this state, we realize that we need no external validation. We are already whole. Number 2. The freedom of self-reliance. One of the most profound lessons of Buddhist philosophy is self-reliance. The Buddha left behind his palace, his family, and his wealth to embark on a solitary journey toward awakening. He understood that attachment breeds suffering. As we grow older, we see how much of our lives have been spent pleasing others, fitting into societal molds, and maintaining relationships out of duty. Old age grants us permission to shed these expectations. We no longer need to rely on external approval for our sense of worth. Instead, we turn inward, cultivating a profound sense of wholeness. At first, self-reliance may feel unsettling. After decades surrounded by people, conversation, and social expectations, stepping back can seem unnatural. Yet with time, we understand that self-reliance is not rejection, it is freedom. The freedom to engage when we choose, to prioritize inner peace over external approval, to simply be without the constant pull of social validation. The moments in life when we feel most at ease, quiet mornings with birdsong, afternoons spent lost in thought, are peaceful not because of who is with us, but because of the space they allow for stillness. That stillness is the heart of self-reliance. Fulfillment is not something to seek outside. It has always been within, a deep, abiding satisfaction in knowing that we are enough, exactly as we are. This freedom transforms how we relate to others. We no longer maintain friendships out of necessity. We engage because we genuinely enjoy the presence of another soul. There is no desperation, no sense of incompleteness. We give freely because we are already whole. In embracing solitude, we discover strength, peace, and a life guided not by external expectation but by the quiet, unwavering voice within. 3. Quality over quantity. The art of meaningful connection. Buddhism reminds us that all relationships are impermanent. Friends will come and go. Some will fade, others transform into memories. Rather than mourning these shifts, we celebrate them as precious moments along the journey. In later life, we learn that the depth of connection matters more than the number of people around us. A single heartfelt conversation can hold more meaning than a lifetime of surface interactions. Zen teachings speak of presence in everything, even in drinking tea. Relationships, like tea, are best experienced with full attention and care. Imagine sharing a simple meal with an old friend. No grand gestures, no pressure, just the quiet joy of presence. Authentic connection is not about extravagance or frequency, It is about being truly seen by another soul. Aging brings discernment. We choose relationships that nourish our hearts and let go of those that no longer serve. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. Through this lens, connection becomes lighter, freer, and more meaningful. A smile exchanged with a stranger, silent understanding with a longtime friend, the quiet embrace of nature. Connection is everywhere if we choose to notice it. Listening, in Buddhist tradition, is an act of love. To listen without planning our response, without distraction, honors the presence of another. Even brief encounters can be transformed into profound experiences through our attention and presence. 4. The beauty of solitude and reflection. Solitude is not emptiness, it is sanctuary. Monks retreat into meditation not to reject the world, but to understand it more deeply. Similarly, in old age, we can embrace silence as a space for reflection. Alone, we have the opportunity to process our lives, accept our past, and release regrets. In stillness, we discover that we are complete, even when alone. Solitude allows us to listen, truly listen, to ourselves. In a world of constant noise, moments of silence are rare and sacred. Solitude nurtures creativity, joy, and introspection. Writing, painting, gardening, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation enrich the soul and remind us that fulfillment does not require others' presence. Embracing solitude is not withdrawal, it is balance. It is a practice of self-awareness, a gateway to inner peace. 5. The importance of family and community. While friendships ebb and flow, the value of family and community often deepens. This is not dependence, but the opportunity to share wisdom, guidance, and love with the generations that follow. Buddhism teaches interdependence, the recognition that all life is connected. Even as we embrace solitude, we can offer ourselves selflessly. Simple acts, sharing stories with grandchildren, offering advice, extending kindness, create ripples that extend beyond our years. Community provides warmth and belonging, a familiar face, a neighbor's smile, or shared meditation. In later life, relationships are defined by authenticity and depth rather than activity or ambition. Generosity, or dana, is central in Buddhist practice. Giving without expectation purifies the heart, dissolves ego, and fosters peace. True connection is found not in obligation, but presence. Heartfelt conversations, teaching, or simple kindness remind us of our interconnectedness. Legacy is built not on wealth or status, but on love, wisdom, and the moments we cherish. 6. Letting go of social expectations. The world often pressures us to maintain friendships and social roles. Buddhism reminds us that suffering arises from attachment, including attachment to societal expectations. Old age offers the freedom to step away from this noise, to live on our own terms. We are not bound to maintain draining relationships or conform to outdated ideas of social life. True peace comes from honoring ourselves, prioritizing meaningful interactions, and choosing solitude when needed. Letting go is not loneliness, it is freedom, and within that freedom, we find our authentic selves. 7. Practical considerations, redefining connection. Aging brings shifts in health, mobility, and energy. These are not limitations, they are invitations to redefine connection. True connection is not measured by grand gatherings or long conversations, but by presence. A shared smile, a child's laughter, a handwritten note, a heartfelt call. Technology can help sustain relationships without exhaustion. Video calls, messages, or silent companionship over the phone. Connection thrives not on activity, but awareness. By embracing what is possible now, deepening current bonds, and connecting with nature, we release the pressure to conform and discover the richness of life in its simplicity. 8. A legacy of wisdom. The greatest gift we leave is wisdom. Old age is not about accumulating more, but distilling life to its essence. Through stories, kindness, and presence, we pass guidance, model compassion, and embody tranquility. Even in solitude, our influence extends beyond ourselves. Each insight, each moment of stillness, becomes a beacon. By living joyfully alone, we teach others that happiness is not external, that friendship is not possession, and that peace arises from within. Solitude, authenticity, and mindfulness are the truest companions we can cultivate. And 9. Embracing life fully, alone or together. Living joyfully alone is a practice, a delicate balance of self-awareness, wisdom, and compassion. Friendships and connections remain, but they are freed from expectation and ego. Life, in its impermanence, invites us to savor each moment fully. The river continues to flow, the sun dips below the horizon, and in the gentle silence, we are complete. Alone, yet entirely present, we discover that old age is not a time of loss, but of profound liberation, inner peace, and the quiet joy of simply being. Through these 9 lessons, aging transforms from being a journey of decline into a sacred unfolding, a chance to live fully, love deeply, and awaken continuously. Each year, each breath, and each connection becomes a step along the river of life, a river that never stops flowing, carrying us toward wisdom, joy, and the serene beauty of the present moment. If you found this helpful, remember to subscribe to join our community where we share mindful wisdom rooted in deep ancient teachings, for peaceful nights and mindful mornings. Subscribe now,